All right, what's going on, guys? Well, now that we have that little fail out of the way, welcome back to Striger Productions with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over 10 reasons why you should not buy a used car in today's market. So, ultimately it comes down to there are pros and there are cons, and I feel like the cons outweigh the pros in this situation. So we're going to go over 10 reasons why you should not buy a used car. Now, I've pulled a lot of this information from the back of my mind and from different sources on the internet. So I've compiled a list of 10 reasons that I feel are the biggest reasons that you should not buy a used car, and we're just going to roll with it. So right off the bat, let's go on into number one. So number one on this list is because it is a seller's market currently. So in anything, when it is a seller's market, it is actually a bad idea to purchase into that. So the supply and demand for used cars is up simply because cars last longer. And in 1995, the actual lifespan of a car was about 7 to 8 years. And since 2017, it's actually risen to about 12 to 13 years for the average lifespan of a car. So they were going from about 150,000 miles or so and 8 years to now going above and beyond 200,000 to 250, even 300,000 miles if you well maintain your car. And basically people are purchasing cars less and less and less because cars are more reliable on the road these days. They just last longer if they're well maintained. That doesn't say that you're going to get your bad apple every now and then and a car is going to completely just explode on you, because we all know that not everyone knows how to well maintain a car. So take into consideration how the car is driven, the life of the car, what it's used for, all place factors in reliability. And if you're just using a car to daily drive and you're taking care of it and you're making sure that it's well maintained, it's going to last you a long time. So that's basically what is driving up the market for used cars, is supply and demand. If there's less cars that are used and more people are buying new and keeping their car for longer amounts of time, then the price is obviously going to go up on used cars. All right, guys, number two on this list is going to have to do with the warranty. So between a new and a used car, the new car is always going to have a better warranty when it comes down to it, simply because the new car is going out and it has 0 miles or very minimal miles on it, and the maintenance is going to be very easy to keep up on that car. And they know that they're most likely going to have no money put out on that car unless something, a fluke happens or something terrible goes wrong within the manufacturer. And with a used car, that car has been used already. They don't know exactly what that car has been through, and they're not willing to take as big of a risk on the car because they know that that car may have been put through some shit during its life. So they're not going to give you as good as a warranty on a used car ever than they will on a new car. So within the 5 years or so, 50,000 to 100,000 miles, depending on what your warranty is, you have peace of mind. So you have 5 years of peace of mind knowing that that car is going to be fixed no matter what happens to it. So you're in the clear. And with a used car, you could either have no warranty, you could have a certified pre-owned, which we'll get into in a little bit, and you could have just a regular old warranty that comes with the car, and it could fix possibly some things that could go wrong with the car. So if you do happen to buy a used car, or you go to check one out, make sure to bring a mechanic friend with you or pay somebody to come check out the car, because you're better off paying a mechanic $100 to come check out the car for you, spend a little bit of their time looking it over to make sure that the car is actually good. And especially if you're going to get a car as is, take a mechanic with you 100%. Like if you're going to do a Craigslist deal or something, go ahead, take somebody with you that knows what they're doing, and just play it safe. All right, so number three on this list, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play off the Craigslist and warranty. With this one, it's going to be, taking on someone else's problem. So somebody else could have found something wrong, or something could be going wrong with the car. And it might not be just as little as an OEM sensor or something that's making the check engine light come on, but you need to take somebody with you to make sure that you know what's wrong with that car if they can figure it out. And also, you need to be asking questions like, how long has it been since it's had its last oil change? Or do you have receipts on maintenance? Or do you have receipts on what's been done to the car? What mods does it have? What's it been used for? How many miles a day has it been driven? Or, anything like that. Just ask some questions so that you can get an overall feel of the seller and whether you're comfortable in purchasing that car. Because, you know, it's very important these days to judge the character of the person selling, because a lot of people are sketchy these days and they're trying to get one over on people. I have trust issues. And as you can tell, I've been screwed over a lot. And I know from experience that you need to take somebody with you to make sure that the car is okay. I had an IROC Z28 Camaro. It was an 82, and I took it off of the lot, and it literally broke down 2 days later with transmission issues that I had to take care of. So, yeah, don't ever trust anybody. Make sure that you take somebody with you and ask the right questions. Make sure that you check out that car in and out before you buy it, because once you hand over that money, you could be out of money. Just remember that. All right, number 4 on this list, we're going to be talking about interest rates and loans. So basically, on the used car, you're almost always going to have a higher interest rate than on a new car, and that is simply because of how they're selling their cars. So on a new car, you could have as low as 0.9% interest or 1% interest rate. And on a used car, that same model could actually, you know, even be 2.5% or 3%. Even if you have good credit, it doesn't matter. They're always going to sell that used car at a higher interest rate simply on sales tactics and how much money they can make off of it. Car dealerships always make more money off of a used car than they will on a new car. The salespeople as well will make more money on their bonuses and on their commissions if they sell a used car over a new car. So you're almost always going to pay more in the long run for a used vehicle. All right, guys, and moving into number 5, and that is going to be the salesperson is going to be brutal on a used car lot. And that is simply because they make more money on a used car lot than they do on a new car lot. And that is because the used cars, you don't know how much they pay for it. So on a new car lot, it's pretty easy to tell what a car is worth, how much it's supposed to sell for, and all that jazz. And they might make $100 on that sale on a new car lot. On a used car lot, though, you don't know how much they bought it for. You don't know where that car came from. All you can do is pull up a Carfax or a credit or a car history report, and you don't really know where that car may come from. There could be accidents on that don't show. There could be other things that don't show, and you might be SOL. But you know, you can't really tell how much a car lot bought a used car for, and they know how much they bought it for. So they're trying to get you into that car with whatever means possible. Take somebody with you if you don't know much about cars and how much they're worth. Also take somebody with you so that they can check it out, like I said before. Just make sure you have a backup person there, because they're going to do whatever they can in their power to get you to buy that car, simply because that salesperson makes more money off that car than they do on a new car. Just keep that in mind if you go to buy a used car. All right, we're going to go into number 6, which I talked about earlier a little. I hit on it just a little bit, and that is certified pre-owned cars. Certified pre-owned is just a fancy word to say, hey, we have a used car with a limited warranty, and maybe it might not break down. It might not, but we don't know. We're just going to tell you that it might be good, and we're going to sell it at a higher price because you get roadside assistance, and you might get a loaner. Might get a loaner if they have one available and something goes wrong with your car. Okay, so there is a saying out there that you can never take a used car and make it new again. And that is correct, because you do not know how the previous owner drove it. And if somebody's selling a car at 6,000, 10,000, 15,000 miles, guess what, guys? They may have driven that car hard and put it away wet. So you don't know, just because that car has been inspected, what's been replaced on the car, right? You don't know. You don't know who did the inspection. You don't know how well the car was maintained when the previous owner had it. You don't know what's wrong with it. So basically, you're overpaying. If you buy a certified pre-owned car, you're overpaying for a used car with a limited warranty, possibly, loaners, and the possibility that something won't go wrong with it. But you can't really tell. I mean, I've had friends that have had scat packs where the rear diff has gone out like 15,000 miles, 9,000 miles. Anything could happen to a used car, guys. There are no 100% guarantees when you buy a used car, and if it's a pre-owned, that something isn't going to go wrong. So yeah, guys, I will stay away personally from certified pre-owned vehicles, because it seems like it's just a big sales gimmick tactic to, make you overpay for a used car and feel comfortable doing so because you get a few little added benefits with the used car that you may not know whether something is wrong with and might not be covered if something breaks. So just be careful, guys. Take somebody with you, like I said before. I've gotten halfway through this video recording and I realized that there was a fat fuzz thing on my face. So that's cool. Got that taken care of. All right, let's move into number 7. So number 7, we're going to be talking about hybrids and why you should never buy a used hybrid. So basically, they come down to whether the cost of affordability over the long haul is really worth it or not. So yeah, sure, you use minimal gas and you will use, electric to run your car. And using electric power comes with a lot of added risks. And one of these things has to do with the alternator. So there is actually no alternator on the newer hybrids. They actually are a generator within the engine. Yeah, within the engine. So when you go ahead and you have to take that in and it is, dead, guess what happens? You have to have the entire engine pulled apart in order to fix the generator where there could have just been an alternator to begin with. So they've made these cars extremely expensive to fix because that's about a 6-hour job. I would say 4 to 6 hours, and that could cost you upwards of $5,000 just to have the alternator / generator fixed because you have to have the complete teardown of the engine and put back together. Not to mention most of the batteries, they can't even be recharged or anything. They have to be, you got to be tossed and you got to buy a whole new unit, and those get spendy as well. So you got to take into consideration that if you keep a hybrid or an electric car for a long time, you may be paying more than you thought you would pay for the car during its lifetime. I've saw a lot of times where people are talking about buying rental cars. Why? Why would you buy a rental car? Every time that I've ever had a rental car, I've beat the crap out of it. I've literally drove it like crazy. There are videos out there of people doing donuts in rental cars and returning them, destroying rental cars and returning them. You don't know what happens after they've done that, whether they put them back together or what. You don't know who's driving that car. And I've even seen stuff on Turo where people are renting out their sports cars. What? No, I would never rent out my Scat Pack ever because I know that somebody's going to get behind the wheel and just act like a jackass. So no, never ever buy a rental car from any company, no matter what it looks like, because you know damn well someone has beat that car to shit. All right, now we're going to talk about number 9, which is buying a car with low miles. So this could go two ways, and it depends on whether you're buying a really, really, really old car with low miles or you're buying a newer car with low miles. So you got to take into consideration if you're buying an older car with low miles that car may not have been driven enough. And I know that some people say, well, people like to keep cars low miles so that they hold their value. That's all good and dandy, but what if they didn't drive that car or start that car or do anything to that car in years? Now you've got issues with possibly the battery, the alternator. You got issues with, your fluids, your containers that hold the fluids, anything in the engine that has to do with fluid as well. Your fluids could be bad. They might need to be changed. Did they change their fluids? All sorts of stuff could go wrong. There could be water vapor in the exhaust, like all sorts of stuff. You could have rust forming in multiple places. Your calipers could be bad. Your rotors could be bad. All sorts of stuff, because that car has not been driven enough. You have to get a car driven. You have to take it outside. You have to make sure that the exhaust comes out of the manifold. You have to make sure that you're driving that car and that it is being maintained in an orderly fashion. Now, if you buy a car that's new and has low miles, or you're going to look at a car that has low miles, you might want to make sure that that car, 1, has a warranty under it, and 2, it's not somebody else's problem like we talked about before. Some people, I'll give them this. They like to buy a car, they like to drive it a couple thousand miles, and then they like to buy something different or get into something different because they get bored of a car. And I'm not that kind of person. I love cars and I love what I drive, and I pick what I drive to keep for, years. But some people aren't like that. Some people will just destroy a car within the first 10,000 miles and then get rid of it. You need to be careful when you buy a car that has low miles for, multiple different reasons. And number 10, this is probably one of the biggest things that you should be careful of when buying a used car, is knowing whether or not the title is clean. And there are multiple reasons that you should, make sure that a title is clean on a car when it comes to insurance, because some places will not insure a salvage title, or they'll jack up the price on a salvage title just because it's a salvage title. And there comes safety hazards with a salvage title. So how bad was it? Did the airbags deploy? Was there structural damage? Did the frame get bent? What happened with that car in that issue where it needed to have a salvaged or damaged title? Why isn't it clean? And you have to take into consideration that if you get into a really bad accident, is the car damaged enough to save you in an occurrence where it could be life or death? So you need to make sure that if you buy a car that has a damaged title, which is just a bad idea in the first place, I wouldn't even go there. I would stay away from any kind of damaged title. I would make sure that the title is clean, because there's a plethora of different reasons why you should make sure. But yeah, just stay away from it. But if you happen to purchase one, make sure that the airbags didn't deploy, there was no structural damage, no frame was bent, and that the car is going to be safe to drive. I mean, you got to take into consideration that seat belts stretch when you are damaged in an accident, that the seats might have shifted and they might not be structurally intact to take another accident. The firewall and all the safety components inside the firewall might be crushed and you might not even know it. So the front of the engine might just come through into your lap if you get in a head-on collision. There's all sorts of different reasons why you should not buy a dirty title, and frankly, I'll never do it. So yeah, guys, this has been 10 reasons why you might not want to buy a used car, and I hope this video has been informative to you and you've learned something. If you did, go ahead and leave a big like on this video. I would appreciate it very much. And if you are, feeling froggy, go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys learned, whether you guys enjoyed the video, what have you. Just say hi, whatever. I like to read the comments, guys. So yeah, if you guys are new, checking out this video and channel for the first time, go ahead, consider subscribing, check out some other videos, and yeah, that's all I really got for you guys. If you guys would like, there's a video right here that you can check out, there's a video right here, and you can hit this button right up here to subscribe. With that, guys, that's all I've got for you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.